Okay, looks like everybody's here, so let's go ahead and get started. Call to order. Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mrs. Dobson,
Here.
Mr. Earhart, Mr. Mitchell,
Here.
Mr. Aravalo,
Here.
Mrs. Dominic, Mr. Sly,
Here.
Mrs. Squire,
Here.
Mr. Welsh.
Here.
Chairman, we have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Approval of agenda. Looks like we're adding item number 12. Is that correct? Just need a motion.
Motion to approve the agenda as it stands with item 12.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the amended agenda. Start the voting on the left.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, moving on to citizen participation. Charles Morse, I see that you're signed up to talk tonight. Do you want to just wait until your item with the item number 3?
Either way is fine.
Okay,
What do you prefer?
it's up to you.
I'll go now,
Okay,
if I can, just my key help. Just to connect to the projector.
yes.
All right. You guys, can you hear me? Okay.
So I know I signed up, oh, there, now you can hear me. So Charles Morse, 18460 South Ridgeview Road. I signed up for agenda item 3, but to be honest, when you see my slides, it's more to do with the existing concrete silos that are in that industrial park than it is for what Cody's doing. I didn't want him to be alarmed that I'm opposing his, because it's a lot smaller, and we just talked about it and he confirmed that. But anyways, I just wanted to kind of go through. It actually was interesting that it was 2 years ago tomorrow night that the Planning Commission approved the existing 4 silos. And so I just kind of want to walk through some of those things. But so the things that I want to make sure that the Planning Commission is considering with these proposals, but the height, the light pollution, and the impact on the local roads. And I have a picture there of the SpaceX launch pad, because that is the view from our porch now every evening to the west. Which is the Monarch cement plant. Here's the view. That is 6.5 stories high and lit up like a launch pad. It's quite the eyesore. But one of my points with that is that, you know, we need to consider not just the zoning of the adjacent plats. Like, yeah, for the letter of the law, that's what we should be looking at. But the truth is, something that tall, it impacts residents for literally miles around. You know, maybe up to a mile and a half. You know, if you're within line of sight of it. So 2 years ago, tomorrow night, the Planning Commission got this site plan for Monarch Cement, and you just see 4 innocent little circles there. And how could you have possibly known? And then these are the elevations they provided, which are these, you know, the buildings that are on site. But when you see it today, you have to think, well, who cares about those buildings? It's the elevation of those silos that really are the most impactful thing in that entire development. And so lighting is interesting. So this is what's said in tonight's plan. It's also what was said written in the proposal for 2 years ago. And that is the outdoor lighting will be constructed on poles and equipment. Staff will review it for compliance with zoning regulations to ensure no negative impact on traffic and the surrounding neighborhood. So again, my request, I guess, is that, you know, when you guys look at these, just consider that the neighborhood is more than the industrial zoning that's immediately around the proposed site. Because here's the view from a home in Sycamore Springs. And I mean, if that was my home, I can see it from my house, but it's not that bad. And if I was in that home and that view dominated my evening sky, I'd feel really bad. And I would feel like my property value had probably diminished. Here's another home in their view. And then so the things that we're considered in that plat and in their conditional use permit, but the neighborhood character. So what was said is the surrounding neighborhood is an industrial area and the proposed use for and design of the site is compatible with the neighborhood. I mean, honestly, I would say that it's compatible in an industrial park, but it's certainly not compatible with the neighbors. Adjacent zoning, again, nearby is industrial, should be fine, but here's what you're left with, is a very prominent eyesore. And it's, that's not photoshopped or anything, that's the actual scale of those 4 existing towers to that neighborhood. And then one more, I took this while driving at 45 miles an hour and actually captured the home and the silos. So I'm proud of that picture. Yeah, and here's a view of the site today. And if they had just rotated those towers or the stairwell to the south, such that lighting on the stairwell and the top lighting, it would all be positioned south towards the industrial park. Had they done that in their site layout, it would have been producing far less light pollution than it is today, unfortunately. And so that I don't know that was considered. And then finally, just consideration of the road. The city council in December, in their road improvement plan, noted that 183rd Street is heavily used by trucks from this plant. The road needs significant repair to continue to serve the cement plant, never mind the residents. And Monarch has committed to assisting with the project. So 3 months later, I took this picture because I drive by this every single day. And that pothole on the left, it's still there, but if you don't, move over into the oncoming lane, and if you hit that in a passenger car, you're probably going to need a tire and a wheel. And that's just a result of all that heavy truck traffic. And my only point there is, if the company is committed to being a part of the solution, but knowing that their truck traffic is going to deteriorate the road, then we need to hold them accountable to actually do it. So in conclusion, just, consider the high impact of heavy industry, consider the impact to the residents on the west side in Dayton Creek and on the east side in Sycamore Springs, along with the rural properties and what that does to their property values and also to the attractiveness of the area for future residential developments. And consider the impact of more light pollution. So I hear a lot of discussion around street lighting in new neighborhoods where we're trying to be like starlight friendly and night sky friendly. And then we allow this. And so it's like, well, you've just undone all of your efforts, around trying to make the neighborhood be able to see the sky when we allow something 7 stories high to just be a glare bomb all night long. And so you don't have to answer me now, but I'm very interested to see, is there something we can do to try to mitigate the lighting from those existing towers? And then we also have to consider the impact to the roads as well when considering these. That's all I had. Thank you. Oh, I had one more comment, which is really appreciate your guys' work on updating the comprehensive plan. Want to tell you I'm very encouraged by the direction you're going. I love the sketch from the last meeting of showing along 169 in the railroads, multifamily, industrial use. I think that's right. And then as you get further away from that, it's more rural zones. I think that's completely the right approach, and I'm very encouraged by that, and I look forward to being a part of the process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. All right. Cody, did you want to have something to say, or would you like to wait until your item comes up?
Yeah, I don't mind waiting.
Okay. All right. Anybody else from the public that'd like to make a comment that didn't get signed up? All right. Moving on to formal commission actions. Approval of minutes from the April 6th meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes from the April 6th meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the April 6th meeting. Start the voting on the left.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 6-0. 0. And item number 2, approval of minutes from the April 20th special meeting.
Move we approve the minutes of April 20th.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the April 20th special meeting. Start the voting on the left.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 6-0. And moving on to item number 3, site plan application SP 79-2023 for Royal Ready Mix. Mr. Burton?
Good evening.
This is an updated site plan for Royal Ready Mix and adding an additional silo on the 3-acre site. It was approved to have additional water placed on the site, and this is adding another cement silo, which it's not concrete, it's a cement side of it. And all the setbacks have been met. They have an entrance right there on there. There is no additional negative impact on traffic. To address a couple of the concerns that have been brought up is the city is working on RFPs for these road projects. Unfortunately, the city can't just go out and hire a contractor. So the RFPs, and the only reason I knew that, it was brought up in the staff meeting, it's a public works function, but, and yes, Monarch is working with the city on helping do that, as well as Bettis Asphalt on some of those projects. Back to this project, it's just an additional silo in the back. There is one existing silo now, as you can see there, and this is another one that is better suited where they can swing around and actually load 2 trucks at once. They do a lot of, most of their work, a lot of pools and things of that nature, and they have to cram a lot of work in the summertime. So that's all I have for it, unless you have additional questions.
How high is it?
This, the height of this one is, I believe it's 36. But, cause how tall is it?
It's, like 35 feet.
I thought it was 36 feet.
Next obvious question is lighting on it.
Yeah, well,
Please
You know,
explain
the-
the regulations.
Won't have any lighting on that side.
not on this. And the lighting on the other one, believe it or not, most of those are not even completed yet, those silos. We have not done the final inspection on them. So we will go by and take a look at, I apologize, I forgot to shut that off. We'll go by and take a look at them, just like we did the storage units and things like that. And I did notice there's quite a bit of glare off of them. There's no direct lighting. That's the problem with the photometrics. Is photometrics will show you where the true lighting affects, but glare, I mean, we've all seen a plane way up there in the air. It's strictly glare. You can't, it's not beamed down to earth. So that's where we're really taking a look at and seeing if we can put some different types of shielding, or if we're just gonna have to go away from wall packs 100% and have them where they come out and a fixture straight down. So yeah, we haven't taken a look at those yet. I noticed they were doing some testing on them the other day, so.
I didn't bring it up because I didn't want to conflate the different.
Oh, no,
items.
that's fine. It's all part of it,
Sure.
We need to review those and take a look at them and all,
What
so.
was the lighting from the storage facility right next door? Does that go into it? To
No,
where
no.
it makes it brighter?
No, I'm talking about, we had, lighting from one of the storage facilities had wall packs on that was actually projecting light out into the state right of way. So they had to put shields on that to have it more down so that it did not project out to the state right of way.
No, I mean, is the lighting from the storage facility and the lighting from
Oh, I have no
Ready
idea.
Mix making it worse, like it all being together?
No,
Makes sense.
I see what you're saying, and I don't know about that part. But it would be where the photometrics comes out and shows it's not projecting over X amount upon, and our engineers do that, I don't know, okay? Projecting out of the area. And and then when we talk about area, anyway, to finish your question, there's too many things going. So imagine if you combine those together, you're looking at more glare.
Okay.
And that's what it is. And not saying that glare isn't a bad thing, because you still get light pollution with glare. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And, you know, and through these procedures of the comp plan and all, those are things that we have written down as, you know, do we want anything, I mean, straight down and that's it? They have to put more in, but in some situations it is better, you know. It's not like the ball fields or something that really project it out, you know. Now, when we say that it's not an impact on the area, what we have to use is the state regulations on the area surrounding, which that's 200 and 1,000. So that's the only areas that we really look at. Now, I understand, you know, that looking out, and hopefully what the comp plan will do is we take that into account in saying, okay, this subdivision is a quarter of a mile away, all right, but we know it's going to have some impact on this subdivision. But under all the regulations that the city staff has to use, it is the notification area by the state statute. 200 foot within the city, 1,000 without or outside the city. But that's where that's another important part, and I know that everyone will, or I hope everyone participates in it, is looking at that and saying, hey, you know, we know 1,000 foot's out, but what does it do to the subdivision down the road? So that was just thrown in a little extra on this site plan, sorry. So, but, you know, it's a well-maintained facility here. They've done a good job there as far as that, so.
I've driven past it, looks nice.
Motion to approve site plan application 79/2023 Royal Ready Mix as per staff report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve SP 079/2023. Start the voting on the left.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 600. Moving on to item number 4, SP 84/2023, Carries Guns.
All right, thank you. If I could have just 1 second to email administration. Okay, thank you. It was actually part of staff or it was administration, so. All right, Carries Guns, this is over in, Country Meadows Industrial. It's a corner lot you pull in. We looked over this a little bit at the very beginning, way back when they were talking about it and sewering and things of that nature. So it's on about an acre, about 98, so it's 1 acre lot. Phelps has engineering designed the plan. The one items that I looked at that I wanted to get some feedback on you is if you look at the building elevations of it, as you can see that the west elevation, it does have the brick and stone on it, and it appears that the remainder of the building does have a wainscot of some sort of steel type material. So on this corner lot, you have 191st as well as Madison, thank you, Madison Street. So, and along 191st, if you look at your elevations on there for the south elevation, you can see that it's just one big long wall that will actually be facing 191st Street. It'll be your top one up there. And the reason I jump right to that, the parking counts, the landscape and all, it meets or exceeds the code. I think now we should go and take a look at the elevational part of it and see what what you think about that as elevation wise. Because it really does not meet the entire intent of the code.
Does the property allow for it to up and go to the other side of the property?
It might, I didn't look at that, and their land surveyor and engineering would. But in doing that, then you place, they tried, that would place all the bay doors towards 191st. Now, if you turned it lengthwise, the property does not allow for that type of use. So I think one of the best solutions on this really is take the south and wainscot it out with a material that would match what they're doing on the west.
So I was gonna say, can't you just wainscot it?
No, and that's,
Wouldn't that just,
well, I wanted to bring it up before it was brought up.
Yeah.
I would rather see wainscoting in the landscaping than I would bay doors.
Agreed.
Right.
I agree.
So I think that's really,
You should have wainscoting.
I think that's really the only comment that staff has on this, that we saw. The remainder of it, met all parts of the code, the right of ways and, screening and all, met all other aspects of the code.
Yeah, because, I mean, the code is meant to address the street side of it, and it's got two street sides.
Yes. And like I said, they really did, by taking the south or the north and placing all the bay doors and all on, they really did help the aesthetic value of it that way. So,
And I think there's some landscaping on that side, but I think that it's still not going to,
it won't.
right, it's not gonna be enough and it's not gonna be
Well,
mature fast enough.
and that's the other thing, we had some calls a few days ago and like, well, there's no way they met the landscape requirements because I can still see X, Y, and Z. I won't bring any names up. And it's like, well, 2.5-inch caliper, it takes a while. Other than that comment by staff, I believe that, staff recommends approval of it with some slight changes. Meaning wainscot of same type of material that is on the west side.
On the south side.
On the south side, the same type of material that's listed on the west. That's correct.
I agree with
Yep.
So would the applicant like you to address that?
Oh, they might. No, I doubt it. Sounds okay, doesn't it? Come on.
I'm Paul Stotts with NSPG Architects, 3515 West 75th Street. The reason we held the stone veneer to the west side, if you look on back to the site plan, you'll notice on the south and east sides of the building, there's a substantial retaining wall because the grade drops, so I think it's 12 to 14 feet from that southeast corner to the south or the northwest corner. Therefore, when that building sets down below that retaining wall, you wouldn't see any of that stone. So we felt it would be better because you put the stone on, who's gonna see it? So we slid it around to the west side thinking it would be better to have it there. So we did carry through with the 40% coverage and such on that west side. That was the only reason we slid it to the west.
But the west and the south are both street sides.
Correct. Oh, sure.
Here, let me talk to you just real.
Any more discussion while we're waiting for them to come back on that?
I think it totally makes sense to put it on the,
Yeah,
what's
I
on the
just-
west side, on the south
Yeah,
side,
I would
for
go
the
ahead and
aesthetic reasons
require them to
behind
put
it.
it on anyway.
I
This
think
is the
that's the
time to
intent of
require
what
it.
was written.
Yeah. Both street sides, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. No, so that was really the only reason we shifted the stone to that west side instead of the south, was due to the height of that retaining wall. It wouldn't be seen there, and it wouldn't make sense to have it where it would not be seen.
So from your plans, it really doesn't show how tall that retaining wall is. I mean, I can't tell how tall the retaining wall is. I know it shows on there's a retaining wall, but
I think we're 6 feet at the corner,
which corner?
the southeast corner,
Okay.
I think that's.
71 to 6,
How far is the retaining wall from?
or further, excuse me. Looks like we're 71 at the corner, and the floor elevation of the building, I think that's 1065.
Precedent.
That was all we had, that's all we had, was just to give you some justification why we'd done what we had done.
Okay.
We're available for comments if you need anything.
Thanks.
So he's talking about this retaining wall here. Can't quite see it on that.
That's okay. I apologize, I can't get mine.
This is a screenshot, so I can't.
Mr. Chairman, I'm still having trouble.
Right, that's what I'm still trying to visualize it myself, so. So how high up is the wainscoting currently, or at what, to get 40%, how tall is the wainscoting? Is it still below 71 inches?
It would be, I'm just trying to get an elevation here for you. It's gonna be about the 71 inch, so it would be below.
It'd actually be below
would-
the retaining
It
wall.
would be, most of it would be below the retaining wall, that is correct.
And how far is the retaining wall from the edge of the building?
What's that width on that sidewalk? 44 inches,
44
48.
inches? No, it can't be
I'll pull it.
Not inches.
About 15 foot on the south side.
15.
10 foot on the east.
I can't get my computer to pull up, so.
I think he said about 15 feet. On the
15
south
foot, okay. What's that distance?
And the wainscot, they're 3'6".
So that'd be 42 inches.
I don't know what the elevation is from the road to be able to see over that.
Right, no, I, that's why, I'm just trying to understand, I don't feel like it's fair to incur extra cost to them if you're not gonna be able to see it anyway.
Right.
But at the same time, I understand why we're having this discussion.
Mm-hmm.
So is that the case where it won't matter, you won't see it because of that 15 foot between the retaining wall and the building? And then it's only gonna be, how many inches high? 44?
I don't know, 15 foot, that 15, it has to be pretty high
Yeah.
for
How high is it?
that 15 foot to change.
Able to change, right.
71 inches at the southeast corner.
Okay, so
That's almost 1 inch shorter than 6 feet.
I would say it's 6 feet.
that's pretty high.
And that's at the short end or is that at the high end? The southeast corner is at the high end of the wall or the short end of the wall?
I'm pulling up.
Okay.
Hands real quick.
But you'll still
wall they're
see it
talking about
when you
right here.
drive by it, I mean, once you're past it. Right? I don't know, it might,
I'm not sure that you will, so.
I'm not sure it's justified or not, but.
And we don't know if
Can we-
it's justified, but, that's what the code said.
The code said what?
That's
So
what the code says.
that's what the code
intent
says.
of it.
Oh,
It's a precedent.
that's right.
What was that?
So if you're not gonna follow your intent, you're setting a precedent for,
I was gonna get you an elevation real quick on,
you know, this is A and then B, C, D, E, J, K, L, and you've set a precedent.
Right.
Can you see it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's one thing to set a precedent. If you can't see it, then
No, I understand, but
I'm just trying to understand what we're
This is,
looking at here.
Well, I think,
Troy, I don't disagree
It's on
with,
this side.
I don't disagree
Here's-
with that, but it's not always gonna be the same ones sitting here that are gonna understand that. It's not always gonna be Pat that's standing here.
I understand.
That's,
no, and, I agree with you. I think at some point we have a code that's in place. And if everybody can just build something to where now they can modify the way the building looks,
Where's the,
we open ourselves up for a bunch of different
I could put it there.
I just need to know elevation of.
caveats to the rule,
Walls goes from 0 feet to 7
right?
foot here.
What's the elevation of?
and I think that historically, that's some of the things that have gotten us in trouble, and if we don't
Yeah, right here.
here's the
start
wall.
really trying to dot our i's and cross our t's going forward, and
Wait, north, where's the south?
And I just start really worrying about,
Here's-
as the board continues to change and the
that's what I was
administration,
trying to-
staff changes.
Yeah.
So the retaining wall is about midway of the building is when you would start seeing the wainscoting. Because from west to east, it starts about a foot and a half, 2 foot, and then climbs to the east to about 42.
Yeah, about a 42, a 72 elevation there at the corner. So it's
so-
about 7 to 8 feet tall at that point.
So you would end up with 0 to 7 foot. So midway in the building, you will start not seeing the 4 foot of wainscot.
So essentially, we're talking about half the building you'd be able to see it, and half the building you wouldn't be able to see it. If you're,
Yes,
okay.
Unless you're walking.
unless you're walking. That's correct.
It's the landscape plan.
Yeah,
It's
I
got
showed
that
them
row of
that.
shrubs.
Well, they got a lot of, landscaping on,
But it's,
by the
but
retaining
but
wall.
So that
it's immature for a while.
that retaining wall.
Yeah. it takes a couple years.
Building side, so the high side of the wall is the road side.
Right, yeah, no, I get that part.
No, all we were
Okay.
gonna say was if we,
And so how long is the building on that side of the,
I think it's approximately.
I got it right here.
180 feet long, give or take.
so we're talking about 90 feet of the wall, that,
Yeah.
right, 90%, 90 feet that you would see the retaining wall, and 90%, or 90 feet you wouldn't see the retaining wall. Is that a fair
Yeah.
assumption? as-
yeah, exactly, yes. What-
Assuming that,
And I-
assuming that,
And I think what we're proposing then, if we need to show it on the south side, why wouldn't we start halfway, when you start to see that when the height of the wainscoting matches the height of the wall, and then we'll go west with it.
so if we're gonna enforce the 40%, is it 40% of that wall?
It'll be 4 foot. We never really got the 40% through. We did get a 4
Okay.
foot through.
Okay, so we have a 4 foot, so it'd have to be 4 feet. So then we're talking about whether you do 4 feet for 90 feet of it, or 4 feet not for 90 feet of it.
That's correct. That's what we're
Okay.
talking about, basically. Or the applicant has proposed that. yes.
Okay. So,
Thank
I
you.
don't know, what do you guys think? I mean, this is,
Well, I mean, I think that's reasonable, if you're not gonna see it, just to require the wainscot for that number of feet up to that point. Eventually the landscaping will come in too, by that retaining wall, I mean, I don't know if that's gonna hide anymore, but, or how big those get, it's gonna take a few years, but
And then you said it was shrubs.
you're not really gonna see that part of the wall until you're, I mean, it makes sense to me, you just do the wainscot like you said, for the west side, and then up to, that night, what is it, how many feet is it?
It would be, well, what we would do is, we'd make sure right when the wainscot and the elevation of the wall are the same, then that's where it would end. There'll be, this wall, there's gonna be some adjustment on it in the field, so there always is anyway.
it doesn't work out exactly like their plans?
No. So if that's what, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry, I won't.
No, I think that I agree with Cindy with what she was saying earlier. As soon as we start modifying the code to what is required, then we open ourselves up for other people who want to modify it, whether it's landscaping or other types of things they can build onto the property to change the way the building is supposed to look. And I think we open ourselves up for the opportunity for that to happen, and then we're sitting here going, well, we let them happen over here, so now we get to let them have it over here.
And
Is that true? I mean,
I think that, in this case, I don't think the applicant would have any problems adhering to the code,
okay,
so,
so maybe we
How
should.
tall is that building on that side?
oh my gosh.
Ask your question again, please, I
How
didn't.
tall is the building?
How tall is
on
the
the
building?
south side?
What is up to your eve, 14 foot to the eve?
Okay,
14
so it's 4 feet of wainscoting and then 10 feet of just steel siding.
That's correct.
If we're talking, personally, I have a tendency to agree with you, Cindy, not necessarily on adjusting the stuff, but if we're only not gonna see half of it, and the other half you are going to see. So have them continue on for the,
About 70 feet, 75 foot.
so, we're only talking, so now we're discussing 75 feet of a 4-foot wall as opposed to 180 feet of a 4-foot wall.
And I think I can say, and I'll ask them, but I don't think the applicant has any problem with that. They have no problem with it.
So I think that, you know, if that's what our rules are and we want to stick by it, we're not talking about what you can see, what you can't see, then you're just staying with what we've said as our.
It's very minimal percent, it won't even be a percent of the construction cost.
Yeah.
Any other questions for me?
So the motion is gonna be
Come on, Mr.
accept the site application as presented by staff with the addition of wainscot on the south side of
correct.
the,
In accordance to code.
okay.
So while we're talking about lighting, is there a lighting issue on this one, or?
It's the same, no lighting issue.
Okay.
As far as, they can't use wall packs, I know that, things like that.
Cause I didn't see lights on here, so that's.
And it's building on building. And like I said, we're gonna really study the lighting along with this comp plan on whether we want it direct down, or, some sort of shielded pack that direct down seems to be the way to, everybody's going to.
I have a really a silly question aesthetically.
Oh.
If we're gonna do that, does it look better to just cut it and have it, here's the stopping line on that wainscoting?
Well,
Or does it look better if you stagger it and taper it down?
I would think that you wouldn't taper it down. It's just like anything else, though. If you're going by it, it gives the illusion that it continues on, even though you don't see it.
Okay,
Okay.
that's why I was thinking
So
if you tapered
if
it, it
you-
would make it look that way too.
Yeah, but I think and maybe that's something that the applicant could redraw. Maybe he wants to, because you see on the east side, could you go back to that, please? You see on the west side, I'm
Right.
sorry, how it's a little bit, the elevations, please. So that, you see how it's a different, he went up the corners and things like that. So maybe he could come in with, some sort of, design, if he even wants to mess with it on the, south side.
Maybe the placement of a tree or bush there
Something.
that didn't make it look like it was
Breaks
just a
it off.
break.
Right, so, but, we can work with, the applicants on that, and my guess is that when you're into this and you're in this construction, it's gonna be just as easy just to wainscot it out. But we'll definitely work with them on it and bring anything changes back. Good question, though. Trying to work with them, that's good. All right, thank you.
Any other,
Any discussion that you guys wanna have on this?
Our motion to recommend approval for site plan application SP 84/2023 for RCK Investments LLC with the addition of wainscot on the south side of the property per code.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Start the voting on the left.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 6-0. Thank you all for coming. And moving on to agenda item 5, preliminary plat, application 94-2023 for Avondale Meadows, formerly Gossel Farms.
Thank you. This is strictly administrative. There's absolutely no change except for the name.
That's all.
That's it.
So it looks like there's a little bit of change to the plan, or is that,
Preliminary plat, there is no change to.
I'm just looking at the diagram that's on our sheet.
Oh, well, I think what they did is they had to change a little bit of the detention basin area, but that's all. None of the streets changed or any of that nature.
I'm looking.
They have.
It looks like there's
New houses on here. There's new properties.
Did I get a
I
change?
mean, there's a curved
Oh.
road and then I'm looking over it.
That wasn't what,
Here and here.
we were submitted on, or I was submitted on. I wasn't submitted on this. So,
There's a ton of changes
You'd
in
like
here.
that. Check the application.
No problem.
The next two will have to be tabled.
Okay. Somebody like to make a motion on that then?
I move that we table the preliminary plat for Avondale and Gossel Farms.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Start the voting on the left.
Aye.
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 All right, moving on to item 6, I believe you'd also, that's the final plat for the same location.
Motion to table agenda item 6.
Second.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Start the voting on the left.
Aye.
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 Carries 6-0 also. Get all that straightened out. Okay, moving on to item 7, final plat for 82-2023 Oakwoods Townhome, second plat.
Okay, thank you. So, Oakwoods Townhomes, they've changed, from the original plat on there, they changed it a little bit and they've added, if you remember, we brought the preliminary plat to you and they've reconfigured, the lots and all on this, and what they're doing is they're platting each one now in accordance to what the original plat was. It's 49 buildings, 196 doors on 17 acres. And here it is. So as you can see now, they have the lots actually platted out. When it originally came out, it was one big lot area, as you can see in the on page 2, your top. And it's now platted out as lots. It does conform to the original development plan after it was modified a little bit. If you remember, the road kind of came through and it was a one-sided developed road and up against the highway, which didn't really make good sense at that point on this. So they have followed what their changes were and put lots to it. We recommend approval of it.
This is that property that's just south, or just south of South Street, right?
Yeah, west of the Aquatic Center and south of South Street. That is correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I move that we recommend approval of the application to the governing body.
Before we do that, I'm
Oh,
not seeing
sorry.
the utility easements on here. Is that on here somewhere and I'm just missing it, or?
Yeah, they'll work with the utility or the engineering on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't,
That's okay, I didn't realize that you were still looking.
I'm slow.
It's okay. I move we recommend approval of plat 0822023 to the governing body for Oakwood Townhomes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for Oakwood Townhomes, plat 82-2023 for approval. Start the voting on the left.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 6-0. Okay, public hearing, rezoning application PZD 85-2023 from RP4 to RP4 amended. So on a public hearing, I will open the public hearing and then we'll describe any ex parte contacts that any of us might have and any conflicts of interest that we also might have. So I guess that's the first thing that we'll do is I'll open the public hearing. And is there any context or conflicts of interest that anybody needs to discuss? Okay. Then we have the staff report regarding this case. So, Mr. Burton, we're ready.
Thank you. Oh. I have no idea. It seems like, no, I have it up. I just have to get to it. It's my computer does not like me today. Yeah, this is it here though. The old one. Yeah, we have to have the old one up there too. So, or I wanted to show them the old one. So what we have is, we all know it as Prebes Development there. And up on there right now, you can take mine off for a minute. And as soon as the computer slims down a little bit, I'll redo it. But we have a approved plan that was more sprawled out with the multifamily, basically. And what we're looking at is the RP4 area, which happens to be in the green. It was more pushed around and it was much more wide open. Okay, you can kick me back now. Thank you. As you can see, this is what the original plan was like here. And so they've condensed it now and made it a much better plan, I think, in having a big loop. You go back to the other one. Having a big loop on there, and you can see that it just looks like a much more attractive plan, that the commercial is right along Webster there, and then you can see some additional commercial or heavier commercial right there, or could be, like a grocery store or something there in the other pinkish area there. But what we're concentrated on is the green area there. It's still and just for reference, the first plan had approximately, give or take, 732 doors, and this plan has 765 doors. Has a real nice amenities to it. As far as going through all what it meets and what it doesn't meet, it is more that this is a revised version of the plan that was presented first in a better utilization that we feel like for the site. anytime you want to look at the other one, the other plan as well. And you can see it incorporates more commercial than what was in the other one, and it's more designed like what we would typically see on a good intersection to utilize it on a busy street as well. The basic concept didn't leave, it just was adjusted better to fit the area better and be able to actually gain some additional commercial. Now, I'm talking about commercial, right now we're looking at the multifamily.
Can you show the original?
Mm-hmm, sure. There you go. Of course, it'll have all the amenities and all, and it places the amenities in a little better area with the, and I mean, the original was nice and it just kind of, you look at the original right here, it just kind of looks like it's stuck there. And if you go to the other one, it looks like that it's actually planned into it. Amy, if you would please. Thank you. It looks like, you know, it's a part of the planned part of
They
it.
have a nice
So-
clubhouse compared to the first one that didn't
That's
really have one.
correct. That's correct.
Yeah, they didn't have one at all.
Yeah, they did. It's just, like I said, it just looked like it was stuck in there.
Oh,
So,
gotcha. No, I think I like this better probably than the original one. I don't think it's adding
it's much better.
much congestion or anything. It's actually easier to get around within there.
I think it does flow better.
Did
It
we,
looks better.
did we have a limit on the number of stories though in writing somewhere?
No, there was never put a limit on the number of stories on this.
No, not on
Now-
this one, but I just thought that, I'm thinking back to when we, years back with Blackhawk. I was thinking that we had
There's
at
a-
that time.
There's a height restriction
Okay.
of not to exceed 65 foot. But they're not gonna meet those.
Okay, I was just remembering back, thinking back, and I wasn't sure when we had the 4-story that if we were okay with
Yeah,
that.
oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, and just to reiterate, this is a good spot for it. I mean, it's kind of nice to see this with the commercial there too, next to it. It's easier to get around in there, I think, the way it's driving.
It looks like to us it is.
Yeah.
Now, did they take out the storage?
It's relocated,
It's up further.
yeah, up in the top area there. If you can see that at the top area there, okay.
You said this is 4-story? I only see 3
I think.
stories when I'm looking through the,
I didn't say 4 stories.
The apartments, increased.
No, there's 4.
you go close to the highway.
Some of them have 4 story
I
there.
just missed it.
And to give you your breakdown of it, it's,
Right in the middle, there's 3
I
stories.
wrote them down.
I see it now.
I didn't
Bottom.
write
Go
Yeah,
closer.
they're all the ones on the
Go
down.
over there.
Yeah, it's all here.
No, go go.
on
look over
how
here.
many
These are all
units.
here.
Yeah.
You zoom in, you can see it's this 4-story, right? That's part of the original, though, isn't
I was gonna say, I only.
it? This, come here.
There's 4.
This is
You have
There's
both.
4.
You gotta zoom in.
So it's 4-story,
Sorry.
4-story,
These are all
and then 3,
four
4, 3.
4 stories. These-
It actually says on the
here.
plan
See
there.
these other ones? Yeah, I know, I didn't see it either. No, I think that's fine, but.
You-
You said the number of doors, Pat, only went up, what, 30?
It
Something?
went up 33.
33?
It went from 732 to 765.
I personally think it's better and it's fine, but, and it's nice to have the commercial in there just to see what kind of a general idea of what it looks like on the side, even though this is just the
That's good.
before.
No, yeah, and that is correct, though. It gives you a feel for the entire site.
I'm anxious to see if they've got people for those.
Oh, I would imagine that, right off the bat, they're not all full, but that's a lot of commercial for this community to handle. Well, I don't think commercial would
Yeah, and it
fill that up right away.
looks like I'm zooming in on some of the, so some of those are 4-story and it says 45 duplex.
It says it on it, yeah, right.
17 is that what the TU is? I'm not sure what. Oh, gotcha.
Tuck unders.
Okay, we're kind of mixing up our stuff here, so does the applicant have anything they'd like to add?
Thank you. My name's Judd Clausen with Phelps Engineering, do the civil engineering and land surveying. Greg Preed is also here as well. We're pretty excited to bring this new plan before you. We think it's a lot better. We spent some time just kind of refining, got ourselves a new architect, and, had a lot of great ideas. This, especially the apartment project, brings some different variety of apartments, whereas the other plan was pretty much the same thing repeated a whole bunch of times. Also with the traffic, we felt like it was necessary to have that loop road come around to give people a way to get in and out pretty quickly, whereas on the other plan, if you were away in the southwest corner, you're kind of driving through a long, long parking lot to get to and from, and I could see a lot of people speeding through there, and it could be kind of dangerous. So we felt like this new plan is a really big improvement on the old plan in many different ways, both with product, how the building looks. I don't know if you had a chance to look at some of the elevations, maybe it's in the next packet, but the architect spent some time really putting some nice features on the outside of the building, so it looks good. We didn't have any tuck under. I think we might have had some tuck under. Those are the garages that are you can rent, you go into the building on the first floor with the garage, and then you go out into a common corridor, and you can have a unit up on the third floor. It doesn't go right into your unit. You just have a garage space that you can come out of your car, go into your car without having to get out in the weather. That's important for some folks. Other folks, we're gonna have carports and stuff. And other folks, don't mind just parking in the parking lot. So we'll have a variety of different things. And especially the clubhouse. This is really an expanded clubhouse beyond what was initially proposed. You can kind of tell in looking at the plans, there's a lot more thought put out into it. A really robust pool and cabana and outdoor features, as well as some nice things inside the building as well. So we really intended for this community to be, while it's different zone, you got the multifamily zone, you got a commercial zone, you got an industrial for the storage. Kind of a mixed use type development, even though it's not vertically integrated, it's horizontally there. So a lot of neat things about it. When you evaluate the commercial, the pads on the east side there along Webster, all of those are still the same as what you already approved. What we did is on the north side of the property, we took there was the storage building along the north side, and then there was a big basin on the northwest corner. We got rid of that and put the basin kind of in the middle because that seems like it works better. And we put a grocery store on that very northwest corner there because we're really kind of, in looking at the market demand and talking with our commercial realtors and stuff, we could really use kind of that smaller grocery store, that convenience grocery store on the north side of town. So we made a spot for it. We've had some good discussions. We're not ready to announce anything yet, but we've got a spot for them. And then on the west side, there is where we put our self-storage. We think that's hugely important. That they're very popular. Quite a nice convenience, especially for the community in this side of town. And then what we did is in the middle area of the site there, that used to be like a retail / office type building. Well, no one's building offices anymore.
No.
You don't need an office, right? There's plenty of office space. and the retail would be second tier back there. So didn't feel like it had a very good chance of success. So, but what we have found is that those are designed to be like flex space type units where, you know, you might have like a home remodeler take part of one of the buildings and have a front office with a few offices and stuff in front, but have kind of a back of house where he could have, you know, make cabinets or, you know, that type of thing. So, you know, here you've got, you know, actually an employment center beyond just the retail inside of here too, so that, you know, there's lots of reasons for people to come into the development, lots of reasons for people to stay, and reasons for the development to be successful. So we hope you like the new plan. Really what this is a suite of applications to allow us to kind of squeeze and push and pull on the zoning lines a little bit. So we're kind of fixing some zoning lines with the new plan. So with that, Greg and I are here to answer any questions you have. And
So when you say there's a variety of apartments, is that like the layout that you're talking about,
yeah,
variety?
yeah. So like the buildings on the southwest side, you know, that's one style of apartment building. And inside of that building, you have 1 and 2 bedroom, maybe a few 2-bedroom with dens. So some product there. And then in the center buildings there, that's a different type of layout or different type of amenities inside those units. So you've got one, maybe some studios, maybe you definitely have 1s and 2s, possibly a few 3s on the corner, or at least a 2-bedroom with an expanded den. So you've got several different floor options, several different levels of rent structures depending on what, you know, you would like to have. And so we didn't want to come back with just a whole bunch of the same thing, which is, I think, part of what the problem with the last plan was.
Yeah, these remind me of Lion Gate over there off of Metcalf, and those are amazing.
Yeah.
They're just crazy, beautiful.
Okay, thank you very much.
Anybody have any more clarification that they need from? So I guess I would ask a question of, are you gonna have, with everything going towards electric, with the garages down there, is that gonna be places for people to charge their electric vehicles?
Yeah, no, we're putting those in now. Greg and, we're working on several, projects with Greg right now. One right off of K7 in Olathe, West Olathe, that's going in. We're actually, putting in EV stations in the parking lot and in some of the units. And then we're providing the infrastructure that it could be expanded, because we all know that, you know, it's something that's growing.
Sure.
But, you know, how many stations do you provide today? There's this many maybe, but, you know, 5 years from now could be a lot different, right? So you want the ability to expand it.
Smart.
And I see that your storage building is, a 3-story storage building,
Yes.
so that's a pretty big storage building.
Yeah, it more than likely won't be that big. It's all climate controlled. It kind of depends a lot on the market study. Once we get the zoning in place and stuff, we can go back out and do RFPs, and then we'll get, you know, vendors like Storage Mart or Storetropolis, you know, those types of national well-run companies that come in and then decide, yeah, this is about the right size. But we want to make sure we've got it right size so that we can get them really kind of the maximum what, you know, would be allowed.
Okay, those are the questions I had.
Thank you.
I did want to bring up on this, the pink area that, not against the highway there, the developer and his team had offered that for a justice center, and it was declined. So I just wanted to let you know that that property was offered up for the justice center.
Who declined it, the city or?
It was declined. I don't make those decisions. But kudos to him for doing that. And it originally, in one of the designs, it had that in there, possible future justice center, you know. So then they went back to the drawing board and worked it out with Office Warehouse. Like,
Were they gonna build it as well for free?
no.
Right? What did you say? No.
Capitalism alive and well. Okay, so
Any
if
other
we have any
clarifications?
questions on that, thank you.
Okay, moving on to public comment. Anybody in the public have any comment that they would like to make? Since it is a public hearing. Come on up.
No, I just wanna say thank you about bringing up about the EVs,
Yeah.
because that was one of my questions, what they were gonna do about electrical charging stations and all this kind of stuff. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ma'am, can you give your name and address for the record too? Sorry, since it's a public hearing, gotta have that.
Okay, Christine Natras, 17940 West 191st Street, Spring Hill, Kansas.
Thank you. Sorry to make you go again.
That's okay.
Sorry, I should have done that. Sorry about that. Thank you.
Township clerk.
All right. Any more clarifications? Otherwise, we'll close the public hearing. Public hearing is now closed. Any deliberations? I heard a lot of positive comments, so.
I think it's tremendous improvement over the original plan.
I totally agree. It's a big improvement from a traffic perspective, from the design perspective. And we're really just rezoning RP4, right?
Right,
Or
yeah,
for
we'll
this
get to the other part.
Right, the other,
So-
yeah. But yeah, it's, and we want, and then, and yeah, and thanks for the clarification, because it really helped, I think.
I think
On all
it's
the-
attractive. I like it.
No, it's a great, I think that's kind of what we've been envisioning over there, right? As a board for a long time. So this is a big improvement that I see.
It's gonna
That's
be-
all I wanted to say.
It's gonna be a nice walkable community.
Yep.
Little bubble, you don't have to go anywhere. Just walk right there.
Any other deliberations?
I move that we recommend approval to the governing body for PZD 85/2023.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded for PZD 85/2023. Start the voting on the left.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 6-0-0. All right, moving on to preliminary plat 88-2023 for Spring Hill Commons, revised.
Right, so I'll,
Oh, sorry, I also need to mention the 14-day protest period now begins after the end of at the end of that public hearing. Sorry, I needed to add that part in.
perfect. So now we move to the preliminary plat. A plan district is its preliminary plat, final and all combined. The next, what we look at is an overall preliminary plat of it, due to there are just straight zoning areas included in this entire plan. So although the RPZ or the planned district is incorporated on this, we're looking at really the commercial and industrial type zonings on this. So it is still 64 acres, and we've been through the elevations and things of that nature on the apartments and all, or the multifamily portion of it. We've covered a lot of what's already changed as far as the different tracks and lots on, what the proposed uses are in those areas. If there's any questions, and really, we'll mix the commercial and the industrial together on this. But, we have a detention basin. One good thing that did come out of all this is that the pump lift station was eliminated. And that was also, we're trying to reduce all these lift stations we can. And they're actually able to gravity down there to the lift station that was in a Quick Trip. And by moving everything around a little bit, I believe it did help on that as well, to be able to do that. So the preliminary plat, we reviewed most all of it. If there's any questions, there's some detention basins there. The entrances basically stayed the same as before. It just has a much better flow with the street layout, and the design. It's not just what I call military design, chop, chop, chop. So I think it adds a lot of character to it as well.
Thank you for making sure that the lift station was deep enough that we could move that all through.
No problem. That's what we try and do.
Saved us $1 million, I'm sure.
Probably saved quite a bit to them. Although bucking a grade costs quite a bit too, but it's always better to eliminate a lift station, you know.
One less thing to break.
That's exactly correct. Yes, it is. And a lot of times eliminating a lift station allows the developer more flexibility on phasing and things like that as well, you know, because the first thing, if you can't gravity, you've got to put in a lift station. They don't allow lagoons anymore.
So we're back to preliminary plats here, so we're not really looking at the, I see that they have some garages on some of these, but I'm assuming those aren't gonna be up for the apartments. Or is that incorrect?
We can discuss the apartments as well. It's just, that's a planned zoning and it need to go first. If you have questions on it, you're more than happy to ask the applicants. Sure.
So you show 3-story and 4-story, but all the renderings are 3-story, so that's why I was kinda curious. So is the 4-story gonna be the ones that have the garages underneath them? Or how is that good? Just curious. Since it's a planned district, we can ask that.
Yep. Judd Clausen again with Phelps Engineering. So the center L buildings there, those are the 3 stories. And you can see, like say that northwest L building, you can see how the parking lot kind of comes up to the building. Those have the tuck unders on that parking lot side. And then between the 2 L buildings is all green space in kind of a plaza courtyard area. So there's no road there. But then like on that southwest L building, you can see the same thing. You have that the parking lot side, you'll have access to those tuck under garages on that side of the building. So on the inside of the L's, basically. And on the other buildings, so say you're way over in the southwest corner there, you can see there's a parking lot that the buildings kind of frame around it. And so on that side, you've got the tuck unders on those buildings as well. And then on the opposite side, you've got like a courtyard green space again that people's patios and decks and stuff face.
So essentially on the one side you'll have garages and then on the other side you'll have apartments?
It'd be green space, yeah, or another building.
Okay.
You know, across the way. So what you don't see on here yet is like all the sidewalks and, I mean, you saw a preliminary landscape plan, but there's a lot of programming and stuff that goes into there. You know, there might be, you know, like grill patios or, you know, benches and all kinds of stuff, you know, that goes on in there. Or just open space too for people to just enjoy.
The one thing I will say about this plan versus the old plan is it doesn't seem like there's much open space, but at the same time, I feel like you utilized your space so much better
Yeah.
than what you did before.
That's what we're trying to do, and I think you'll find this is very similar to some of the Class A apartments that we're doing in, you know, Leawood, Overland Park, Lenexa, and similar type styles that you see. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Any deliberation?
To chime in on the open space, and that's why we're gonna work really hard on the comp plan for connectivity, and start looking to, have larger park projects and large, you know, I think it's a good idea.
Are you only doing 1 and 2 bedrooms, or, I know you said something about 3 bedrooms, but I don't see any of them.
they're gonna, well, remember he was saying on the corners that they're gonna have that option on some of these building styles as to where they could put a third bedroom or a den or something like that on there. When the exact construction plans come in with the building permit, we'll bring them to you again as well.
And that's when we can ask about the safety.
Safety. You want a fence around the pool, or what do you want?
Oh, I want my tornado shelter.
Tornado shelter, okay, yes. Well, and we can talk about that as well, yes.
I'm assuming you've had that conversation with them then. Has they had that conversation with you or concerns about that?
They're having that conversation with every community, so.
I figured that they were, so I didn't want to blindside you with something that you didn't
I'm
know
sure
was
they're,
coming.
I'm sure they're not being blindsided.
Well, I didn't figure that they were, but you never want to assume without it.
And you see, I've waited a long time.
You have. I was actually amazed.
I knew there was something you were being patient about, I just couldn't figure it out.
There's only two pet peeves I have.
Cul-de-sacs and storm shelter.
What?
Cul-de-sacs and storm shelter.
Well, and sidewalks.
Yeah, well, yeah. But that-
Sidewalks.
It used to be lighting, so I.
It was, we're getting better. And then tonight we were like, there it
I
went.
know, I know.
I kept my mouth shut about lighting and then there we were.
I'm telling you. Get some-
You just can't win, can you? All right. Any other deliberation, or do we just want to make a motion?
I'm ready to make a motion, if that's okay. Let's make a motion to approve the preliminary plat, 88-2023, Spring Hill Commons as presented by staff.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve preliminary plat 88-2023 for Spring Hill Commons. Starts voting on the right this time, just for something different.
Aye.
Aye.
I was ready.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 6-0. Okay, public hearing. We're back to put another public hearing here, so get my instructions out. So we'll open the public hearing. And is there any ex-parte communications and or conflicts of interest that anyone needs to
No.
reveal?
Nope.
Okay. Ready for your report then? Sorry. You gotta be ready. We're moving along.
Yeah.
That's great, thank you. So, this is the 18.77 acres, proposed C2 zoning. The current zoning, as Judd had indicated, they've adjusted the lines and all, but within that current zoning, there's C2 industrial as well as RP4. So they've looking at this, and the light blue area, it'll go to straight C2 zoning. The most of it was already the proposed area for the C2 anyway, and so the neighborhood and the surrounding districts, we think that it will definitely help support the multifamily as well as other businesses, and the multifamily the other way and the other business the other way, as Judd had explained earlier. So really if there's any discussion on it all, but staff supports this to be changed as presented by staff. And I'm sure the applicant would be more than happy to address anything as well.
We kind of don't want to beat a dead horse here. We've kind of discussed everything already, it seems like. So we're in a public hearing, so, let's see. Anything else you want to add to it for the C2 part?
We're available for questions.
Okay, thank you. Any clarifications?
No, I don't have any problem. I mean, basically the adding of more acreage to,
Right, more commercially.
which is fine.
Any public comments? All right. If there's no other then if there's nothing else, then I'll close the public hearing. Any deliberations that need to happen?
I move that we recommend Z 86-2023 as presented by staff to the governing body.
It's been moved and seconded. First, I'm gonna say that it's a 14-day protest period. It starts now. And then we'll carry on with that motion. Start the voting on the right again.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 6-0. And public hearing for rezoning application 87-2023. And since it's another public hearing, open the public hearing. Any conflicts of interest or ex-party communications? All right.
No.
Staff report.
Thank you again. This is 8.9 acres, and it, like I said, it's a readjustment of the all the different lines that were in there to make this plan change into a better flow pattern. As I'd spoke before, they originally in the area that you see in the pink, that's not along the highway. There was discussions with the city about a justice center there, and those discussions fell through. So they have gone back to, they went back to the drawing board, and I don't know how I changed that, but I did. They went back to the drawing board and came up with a really good, as Judd had spoken about, Mr. Clausen had spoken about, shop, wood shop or something of that nature, office warehouse maybe, or something like that. Other than that, there's not much else. Staff supports it.
Give you one more chance to put your 2 cents in.
Again, I'm here for questions, thanks.
Okay. Any additional clarification needed for anybody on the board? Any public comments? Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. It starts the 14-day protest period. And any other deliberations and or motions?
Move that we recommend approval of Z 87-2023 to the governing body as presented by staff.
Second.
It's been moved and second and thirded. To start the voting on the left this time.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 6-0. Thank you all. Moving on to status update for the discussion of the status update of the comprehensive plan.
Oh, we have one more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
12, yes.
Number 12.
Item 12 now.
Sure. Thank you.
I got distracted.
Yep, we can do it. It's easy. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, so this was turned in by Concrete Materials, Inc. It sits on a piece of property owned by the Crawford family and Dunmire Family Trust. They do have permission from the property owner, if passed, to utilize that property for this. It was never proposed in the original site plan, and what we always ask is if any type of signage, on-site or off-site. The reason we bring it to Planning Commission is that it falls under the sign regulations, which our sign regulations call for the maximum of 4x8. They're asking for a double that. It would be 8x16. You can see the sign that they've proposed. That's what it would look like, and it would be out there on a post up there. It's going to be approximately 12 foot in height, so that it would not impede the site triangle of any sort. It would be on private property, and we bring it to see if you are willing to have that sign there or not. That's how, bottom line.
What is already there? Is that a banner that's there? Did they already put a
Yeah,
sign up? There's
just-
something there.
Yeah, it's just a banner.
Okay.
It's a temporary
Catches your
use.
eye, that's for sure.
So,
So is it two-sided? So you can see it from both directions?
yeah.
So it's perpendicular to the road?
And it is a two-sided, can be seen from north and southbound traffic. So, I mean, we can look at it and staff can issue a 4x8, but it has to come to the planning commission to exceed the sign regulations.
Talk to me about the size of this in comparison to the billboards that we've,
Oh, the billboards are 6, 7, 8 times this size. This is a 4x8 sheet of plywood twice. That right there.
right, but, so then, and it's not near, it's like half the height of the billboards?
Probably 1/3.
1/3, okay.
Up high enough where it does not impede the visual triangle, but low enough that it's not considered a billboard sign. So,
I know that we did have a discussion one time about the billboards, that we could only have so many and had to be so many feet apart and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So is this kind of a compromise between that, or?
it just does not, they don't want a billboard sign. It does not meet the billboard regulations at any, and if they would have worked out this, agreement with the property owners prior to, and we would have brought it at site plan, it could have been approved or denied at the site plan. Because it does allow us to approve or deny on-site and off-site signs. So size of the sign, you're looking at approximately the size of that shade right there behind you.
What size did you say it was?
It's an 8x16. It's a little,
It's a lot bigger, that's not 8x16.
It's like 2 sheets of plywood.
it's 2 sheets of plywood.
That's not
So
16 feet wide.
it's not quite 16 foot wide. I mean, I think those are 12.
I think more like that one.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
That's better representation of it. But
Sorry, I'm
it's a large
not a visual
sign.
person.
It just doesn't meet the criteria for billboards, so, and it exceeds our criteria that we can, issue permits for.
So how high up the grid is it?
It's 12 foot.
Don't we
12
have
feet off the grid?
regulations on, I mean, isn't this, a business monument or?
Right, so and that's what I was getting at, is if it would have brought with the site plan, you would have looked at it with the site plan.
Yeah, they
But
could,
we have to bring it to you because it exceeds our authority to issue a permit on.
for just.
If they were gonna cut it in half, I wouldn't be standing here talking.
Basically, is it trying to just have a big enough sign, high enough to where it can be visible from 169?
Yes, both sides,
And you said it's 8x16?
8x16, 12 foot off both sides.
It's actually 4 sheets of plywood vertical.
Well, that's true. The length is 2 sheets of
Right.
plywood, yeah.
But if you turn them up on end, that's.
Then you
4.
have 4,
Then that's 8x16s.
Not lighted.
not lighted, no. They said they will not.
Is it going?
It'll be
sorry,
4
Gary said
posts.
this. Is it going above the building or like on the side of the?
It is nothing, nowhere, can you go back to the site plan, please? It's, as you see the location there,
It's.
it's on private property,
Right by the edge of the road.
Okay.
right by the edge of the road, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, has nothing to do with the site at all.
Off-site. and
It's
on
completely off-site.
somebody else's
The
property.
blue is on site, and this is out by the highway on private property. They have permission, but, it is not on site.
How far away is the site?
Well, it's a quarter mile,
Half mile.
Say,
I think.
But that's why Cindy was asking about the billboards, that compared to the billboards is much smaller than the billboards.
To me, it's a billboard.
But it's 6
It just
times
doesn't,
smaller than.
and
we have.
it's a sign, so you need to look at it
And I was
as,
just trying to get,
Yeah.
for my mind, a references to size comparison, because we can't have any more billboards up and down. So it's not, I mean, I know it's.
that's
a
not
billboard.
true. There can be billboards on the other side of the highway,
On that side?
on the other side.
But this is 6 times smaller than.
Right, I was just, for my mental
Now,
reference, trying to
To
get.
give you a reference point, though, you say it's a billboard, but the sign at Price Chopper and all is pretty close. Quick Trips is pretty close.
But
That's
Quick Trip
why,
is 50 feet in the air, though.
well, no, I understand that,
I'm
but
not- I'm not trying to argue
what
with
I'm
you,
getting,
I'm trying
no,
to-
what I'm getting at is the comment was made as a billboard. And that's why I always, and you can ask Amy, I tell every applicant, you put every sign, I don't care if it's in Olathe, we'll look at it, I don't care. But make sure that we know where all your signs are gonna go, so we can make that a conscious decision at the time of signage on property, signage off property, all that. And then they came back with this and said it has to go to planning commission, so.
So what happens, I mean, I know it's not our issue, it's their issue, but if we say, okay, and then this property owner sells property, and the next property owner says, I don't want that there.
Cindy, I have no idea. I'm sure it's in an agreement. Dunmeyers and Crawfords are,
But I'm just saying.
I don't
Keep
know.
going with
I don't know.
Put it down.
Most likely it'll come down.
Just gonna line
That
them
would
up.
be my guess.
Line up advertising down the.
That would be my guess.
I know, I just,
$100 a month.
That's why we bring it to plan commission. It's-
years back, I took my stance on the advertising on the highway, and I just don't. I mean, I know we're not Branson, but I just don't want to see
like,
1,001 signs up and down. And I know it's not 1,001, but I just don't want to see an entourage of signs up and down.
and that's why you guys, the planning commission made a conscious decision on limiting the amount of billboard, the distance of them, and
Yes.
things like that.
So, Pat,
Yes, sir.
I obviously don't like the sign being there,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't like the proposed size. Is the sign, are we approving the sign, period? Can they put the sign there without
If it
the,
meets the code,
Oh, okay, so I see what your question is. If they reduce that to a 4x8,
yeah.
then we can approve it.
The
Yes,
city can approve it, not,
this,
Right, doesn't even have to
city
come
staff
before
it
can.
doesn't have to come before us.
A 4x8 can be approved by staff.
That's correct.
But this is quite a bit bigger.
Oh, yeah, it's,
if we, since you brought this to us, we can say, no, we don't like that size, and we also don't recommend staff approves that either.
well, this particular one, you have no say on if, as long as it meets the code.
Yeah, staff will approve it.
Yeah.
So if it's.
And I understand what you're saying, yeah.
It's either
And,
4x8,
Right.
what, 8x16? That's it.
Okay,
Let's say we say no.
Mhm.
What stops them from doing sort of what the glass plant does? They paint the sign on their stack.
right, but they're quite a ways back and nothing does stop them. And a matter of fact, I think they are working on decals now for that.
Yeah,
Okay.
they just wanted it close to the road.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and,
So it would be reduced by a fourth the size.
yep. What's this agenda item number?
12.
No, I mean, I'm sorry,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Code.
Oh, you mean you would just say the proposed sign at the corner of 183rd and 169 for concrete materials is approved or denied, or the motion, whatever your motion you are wanting to present.
Well, what is, I mean,
I was gonna
I
say, do
wanna
we-
see, what does everybody think? I mean, I don't see, you don't want it, I don't, it's probably, you probably don't wanna hear my opinion. I don't have a.
no, I do.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, cause we're a board, and that's what we're here for, is to discuss stuff.
I really don't have a problem with it. They're just trying to advertise and, I mean, they're gonna get 4x8 anyway. This is a lot bigger though.
Well, a 4x8 is 1/4 the size of this, square feet.
I know. It's pretty big.
That-
Yeah, but then you want to start.
But that's where all the billboards are.
Right, it's big.
I mean, that's what we've been kind of discussing with our
Yeah.
comprehensive
It's
plan and stuff, like, this is where,
Six
this
times
is where,
smaller than a billboard.
this is actually where the planning commission has power to do something, so.
I'm
if
just
you-
telling you my opinion. It's
I know.
6 times smaller than a billboard. I don't have a problem with it. That's,
Okay,
it's okay if you guys don't wanna do it, that's fine.
no, I'm just trying to get your input on it.
That's correct.
It's on private property.
Yep.
The guy, the private property owner already said it's okay.
But it's not.
It's not
his-
hurting us that much when we see it.
It's not his property though.
No, but
I know, he got permission, I get
it
it.
doesn't matter.
Well, you could be renting the property from him for all we know. I mean, we don't know that.
Nope, we don't, we're not asking, I mean, we're
No,
not.
it's-
But I also see you guys' point. You don't want a bunch of signs up there and that, but I don't know. I don't think
Well, the
it's-
next sign that the property owner says, yeah, you can go there, and then it's a bigger one or taller, same size and it's taller and.
Well, you have to
I'm-
get it approved, right?
Yeah, well,
You have to get
Not
it.
if it's 4x8.
Yellow and a green.
So it's either
Yeah.
4x8 or the big one, so whatever
Well,
you,
it's either the planning commission can approve it for the 8x16, or we don't approve it and they're gonna go to the city and get a 4x8 sign.
That's right.
Because they don't need our approval,
exactly.
but the sign is 1/4 the size of what this one is.
But that's the whole
We've already
thing.
been on the train of let's just stick to code this evening. So I say we stick to code and let the code write the visuals.
Okay.
That's
Mary, you got any input on this? You've been kinda quiet.
I don't like it at all.
Okay.
So I'm with Roger. It's gonna start with one, and then soon we're gonna have all these bright color signs going all the way down 169. We're fighting to keep, the industrial and commercial nice looking as you come in and out of town, and then you got this.
Well, that's a good question. How does that fit in with like the billboards there? Like the code on that? I mean, if you're gonna put that up there, how many signs could you put?
Mm-hmm.
I think the
that's-
Mary's.
If they-
Yeah,
if
cause they
they're
go all the
4x8.
way down 169 and,
Every,
oh, well,
every-
yeah, Steve wants to put his sign up, and then Cindy wants to put her sign up.
that's what I'm saying, that property
is
owner
there any
could,
limit
could
to, like, on a
do what they,
private property?
sure, you can put yours there and
Yeah.
XYZ can put theirs there, and then we've got 30 signs on that
really.
property down the,
500 different colors, and it's, no.
better keep them small.
Well-
I'm gonna say a motion to deny the sign of 8x16 on the corner of 169 and 183
Yes.
as presented by staff.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to deny the sign at Highway 169 and 83rd Street on the northeast corner. I will start the voting on the left.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 6-0 to deny it.
Thank you. A quick comment is, that's why you get paid the big bucks.
That's right. You better believe it, man. Can't wait to start spending those.
Right, so discussion on the comp plan, well, first, the council did approve the items of final plat and the site plan for Bedrock and the final plat for Woodland Crossings South First. Discussion for the comp plan, we'll go ahead with that, is they met with Amy. They're on track to have the digital out the 15th, which is next Monday, or 2 Mondays. Next Monday?
2 Mondays.
Oh, well, I'll see if we can get next Monday. But no, 2 Mondays. They're working on it. Amy's had good discussions with them, and then at the 18th, they will be here in person. So and I just said this, I don't know, I think this is probably right, but, they're asking, hey, do we want to have a joint meeting with planning commission and council? And this, my opinion, it's way too early for that. They need to get their feet underneath them with your ideas, thoughts, and what we want accomplished. So I said no. If you want me to change that, I'll be more than happy to, but that will be the 18th meeting. And then there are meetings that will be planned in conjunction with the governing body. So that's really all the update we have on the comp part of it. I say that we're working on some road change locations through some platting that may or may not occur. We're working with several different developers on different areas down South Webster all the way up to clear up by 175th Street. But those will all be incorporated in preliminary and final plats that I hope, anyway, make it to the board or the planning commission, I'm sorry. Because I think it'd be a very good development. I just hope that we can get it. And the other good thing is, it's kind of what I was hoping would happen. Let's just use I can use 175th. Because Webster's really a touchy subject, but either one of them, a lot of times it's it's really good to allow development to relocate these streets so that it works for the entire area. And that's what we're working on in both of those locations. So it might work out really well for us. Also up north, it would be the Webster intersection as well, or Woodland, I'm sorry, the Woodland intersection at 175th. So, you know, it may work out just fine and everyone can, you know, calm down and say, oh, it does work, you know, with development, adjusting these streets to fit the entire area as well as all the different property owners. So that's all I really have.
I would like to bring up what Mr. Morse talked about earlier, now that we're in discussion.
Sure.
So we haven't, so this hasn't been final approval from the city as far as the lights there on the tower, on the
No.
silos?
There's no.
Okay, so there still could be changes being made to them, correct? Okay, so I just wanted to, I didn't want you to think that I didn't want you to think that had ignored what you said. That just wasn't the proper time to talk about it, so.
The most of the lighting problems that are up there now, as well as at Summit Bettis, is you know, construction lighting. You know,
Do we have a time frame on when they're?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay,
I
was just
well,
curious.
it looks like, you know, they're probably getting pretty close to. I would think in the next month and a half or so that they would.
And so there possibly could be some shielding or something that's gonna be going up.
There will be, anything that, we try and take a good look at them early in the morning. If you remember when, Sonic redid their awnings and all, and they adjusted their lights, and if you were right there, you were coming this way, it just hit you. And, you know, of course, we got complaints real quick, but as soon as, we went immediately in that because that was a real dangerous situation, according to some. But before the final was completed, they had to readjust them. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I just wanted to make
That's
sure
right.
that was gonna be where we're at on that, so. Cause I can certainly
Certainly
understand
so.
his concern about that light, so, very bright.
What streets,
Yeah.
Mr. Morris, did you say you lived on, or that area?
Oh, it's the whole area.
I have a request too, Mr. Chair.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get a copy of the presentation from Mr. Morris, the slides
Sure. Yeah.
for the planning commission?
And he'll get them to Amy.
I'll give you my
Yeah.
info.
Yeah, and really, it's
Just send
one
that
of
to the
the-
city.
it's one of the discussions that needs to take place. You know, like I said, it's not going to blind you or anything, but there is always, even with the photometrics, to give you an idea, the photometrics of the football field, there is no light pollution that does not meet the standards. But we know darn good and well we can be at Price Chopper and see them.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So those are definitely discussions that we need to keep in mind when we're looking at this industrial, and commercial, and all
That's-
with
You bring up a
conjunction.
great point, because at high school, I mean, if we didn't have the trees there, Pat, I mean, that would just be blinding us every night on our.
Oh, no, seriously, you can go down to Price Chopper and see that there's a lot of nights I'll leave during football season and I know there's a game, you know. So it's not blinding you, but it is pollution by glare.
So can you remind me again how tall those towers are? Do you
Which
remember?
towers?
The ones that we're discussing, the cement towers.
Oh, Monarch, those are 80s if I remember correctly. Because the one we approved tonight was 35.
Right.
And those were just about double, the height wise, they're about
Right.
10 times size wise. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any just things they'd like?
Those
to
are good
discuss?
things to bring up though during the comp plan.
Was that brought up to us when we approved all that? I don't remember. The
Height and all?
Of 80?
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember
It's
having a
well
discussion
below
about how tall those
what,
were.
I mean, yeah, it was brought up. It's well below our limits. I mean,
Oh, okay.
because it looks like, I mean, there's, yeah, I mean, we're working on a plan right now in one area that is for senior type housing that it could be a 10-story building. So,
What
I
is the
mean-
code for the cement? Is there?
Like 120 something feet.
120 something?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
It's only 2/3.
that's pretty standard. But
Okay.
yeah, so like I said, and I don't know if this will go through or not, but we are looking at it right now. So they're just going to keep. It's cheaper to go up. Yeah.
Any other discussion? Moving on to announcements.
And I think I went ahead and discussed those, and I think that overall tonight everything was discussed fairly and all, and with good, and that's what we need to do. And then the other one is that Scott Dutzman has resigned. So we will be looking, one thing that we're looking at, and this, I may be jumping the gun with administration a little bit, but since we are well vested in Miami County as well, that we would have an additional representative, a person from the Miami County side as well on, that would be a designated Miami County person.
Was Scott from
And-
the Miami County side?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, this would be addition, that's what I'm saying. We're in discussions to have a person that lives, you have to live in Miami County, not just the
City limits.
the seat.
The Miami County city limits part.
That's correct, yes. So, so we'll probably be bringing that discussion to you real soon to see if you guys would go along with that. And then we will have to fill.
So can you just remind me, because we have one
At large.
at large.
Mm-hmm.
We have one from the Miami County side, one from the Johnson County side, or do we not have that anymore?
It's not split.
What?
I thought we,
It's not totally split up.
I thought we
where-
had one when we had the
That
additional
is-
area, the additional 3 miles, that we had somebody.
Yeah, it's gone. I mean,
Okay,
that additional 3 mile stuff.
We did have one, we had one on the Miami County side, one on the Johnson County side that was not within the city limits, but it had to be within 3 miles.
It was
That's-
a long time ago.
Yeah, the
Okay.
I didn't
distance
know
and
we had
all
that.
was,
We did.
well, it's not,
Representative from Miami.
Okay, so that, I didn't think I was crazy.
well, no, it's,
But he's
I-
talking about a city.
No, I got that. But that's why I was just reminding the planning commission here, or
Okay.
what
no,
everybody,
it's
I guess
not
I always
said.
thought that Roger was the Miami and Mary was the Johnson.
okay.
Yeah, I
So,
think that.
What I'm saying, well, number one, it is called at large, and they both, when the agreement was for the extraterritorial area, that
Right.
was correct. There is no extraterritorial area any longer.
Okay.
So what we're looking at though is better representation on Miami County with 2, and actually put it in there saying that we need 2 for Miami and 1 from Johnson, because most of the city's in Johnson.
Right.
So that's what we're looking at doing, changing that part. Now, when you are correct, it's just kind of flowed along. That was with the extraterritorial.
That's what I couldn't remember how that all
That's correct.
played out. So that's why I was asking, because it was
so you really just have-
clarification.
And the city has always just said, well, 1 from Miami and 1 from Johnson after the extraterritorial broke down.
That's been a long time ago. We still have, thought we still kept,
We do keep it. That's what I said. We just went along with that. And I think that it would be better off to have 2 Miami, said 2 Miami, and then the Johnson County, if you want to keep the Johnson County, that's what we're presenting to you. If you want to keep 1 in Johnson County, that's fine, but the majority of the city's in Johnson County, so it's represented. But those are discussions we'll
Johnson
have.
County is outside the city limits.
Yes, and that's what I'll bring to you and see if that's what you want to do.
And so the term you're using is at large.
That's
I'm
what
just-
I
I'm
call
just-
it. That's what I call it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, my,
So we have an at-large Miami. and
So
an
it
at-large-
sounds like to me that what you want is you want 1 Johnson, and then if we're proposing 2 Miami.
I thought you were saying that one of them need to be within the city limits of, on the Miami County side.
That's what I heard too, Troy.
No, that's not what I really was intending, but
Okay, that-
we can look in, we'll present several different scenarios to you.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get clarification
No,
on what we're talking
I
about. 'cause I'm
actually didn't
confused.
think about that, so that's good we had this discussion.
So maybe you do want one, Mike, in the city.
I don't know, we'll present several different scenarios to you guys. So,
The only other announcement I'd have is that we do have a work session on the 18th, correct?
18th, yes.
At 7 PM.
7, yes. If that still works with everyone.
I'm just watching Roger go down a rabbit hole, and I'm tired and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I'm trying. He's the one talking.
I think we're doing good. We're gonna be out in 2 hours, so, you know.
Threw you under there.
That's good.
I'm sorry.
I know, his laugh is cracking me up. He's just over here.
Thank you.
Roger turned red. I didn't mean to make it.
Would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second it.
Been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming tonight.